was something that I look back on and I see like, ah, yes, I see why it felt like there wasn't a different world. And it almost didn't feel like a choice. It felt like this is the path that was laid out before I was born. And it felt like something that I was asking to be involved in. And I look back on it and I sort of recognize the level of pressure and identity and being a part of their lives, meant being a part of their movement. Belief can feel like something that we work really hard to believe and that we try to understand ourselves and think that we're moral and right and everybody sees themselves as the person who's not the villain in a scenario. If you grow up in an ideology and you firmly believe it, it's probably the case that you were just trying to be a member of the community, and it felt sort of shattering just to realize that I'd worked so hard to think otherwise. And it was clear even that first semester at New College when people I was making these deep relationships with were telling me about their own experiences of discrimination without knowing this movement that I came from. And I started even hearing direct overlaps between members of my movement and how they had terrified people I was deeply close to. And I had that feeling of misunderstanding, or is there some way I can bridge this, or is there some way I care about you deeply, and yet my had to resolve in myself that yes, those people would never understand you, they would never be close to you, and but I know you, and I'm just going to try to keep these two worlds separate and split myself into them as long as possible. And so it just became intolerable. Like I couldn't manage the sort of split that was going on. I've had trans thoughts throughout my life. Like as a little kid, I wanted to present in feminine ways and got sort of critiqued by my family and told you're not allowed to do that, and learned younger than I can even fully remember being chastised in ways where now that I'm seeing their reactions to by more publicly coming out and coming out to them, which are vitriolic and hateful and obscenities and transphobic slurs. But I would get harassed in the boys' room by this, and I just started trying day after day to not go to school because I just was like afraid to go in there, and the teachers didn't do anything. There was no real intervention. It felt like my parents were the people who were going to, sort of stick up for my right to appear how I wanted and were going to sort of protect me in that space. For a lot of my teenage years, it was often feeling like it wanted to burst through, but it was also something that just didn't talk about with almost anybody. I've spent a lot of time online reading about things. And it was while writing the book over the last couple of years where I was becoming much more comfortable being open about gender with people. And at that point, it was like, do I want to describe it? And I did, sort of describing it lightly in the book. But it's one of the things that over the last whatever year or something, I've become so much more comfortable. And the impact of that has been that I have had the opportunity to talk about gender, and I've been realizing like both remarkable that 3 months ago I don't think I would have wanted to or felt like clear about what I wanted to, and now I really appreciate the ability to discuss it. Like it's something that kind of gives me a lot of joy, actually. Hard week when I surprised them with that letter saying they knew I was withdrawing at that point, but they didn't know how strongly ideologically I was against it. And so they were horrified, and they really did isolate themselves from other people. They had a sense that you just can't be close, you can't be friends with anyone who's not a white nationalist, was something that my mother, lived by. And so the fact that they were willing to maintain a relationship was really huge for them, and it was something I always really appreciated. And so over those years, we've been able to, text and call each other on holidays and birthdays. I visited a few times over the last decade, and I don't think I've had a single conversation in that time where they didn't remind me of how baffled and horrified they are by the fact that I don't believe their ideology. So it's not something we've processed and moved on from. It's still something that lingers for them as this horrible pain. I have never gotten as explicitly vitriolic and cruel messages from them as since I publicly identified as trans. And it's not that I'm exactly surprised because they're like, leaders of the white nationalist movement. It's kind of what you would expect, I guess. But they're also my parents who I have cared about and loved and continue to love my whole life, and they have loved me. And to respond with transphobic slurs feels to me, the main thing that comes to my mind is like disappointing. It seems almost stupid. Little, it's emotionally gutted me. It's felt awful. It's felt bad, but it's also felt just deeply disappointing. I would have hoped for a lot more curiosity from them.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.